We're on.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Brown, we're ready.
Are you ready then? Yes. Members, welcome to the virtual meeting of the Employment Committee, which is being streamed via YouTube. I will begin by asking the Democratic Services Officer, Dan Kelly, to do the roll call of members. When they say your name, if you can unmute and confirm you are present.
Thank you, Councillor Brown.
Right.
So, Councillor Holditch.
Present.
Thank you. Councillor Jamil.
Here.
Councillor Wigan.
Present.
Councillor Yerketin.
Present.
Thank you. And yourself, Councillor Brown.
Okay, that's it, is it?
Thank you. Yeah.
So item 1, apologies for absence. Have there been any apologies for absence received?
Thank you, Chairman. No apologies received for this evening.
Okay, right, off we go then. Item 2, declarations of interest. Do members have any declarations of interest? If so, please can you raise your virtual hand?
No hands are raised, Chairman.
All right then. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting on the 18th of June 2020. Do I have any proposer and seconder?
I'll propose. I'll second.
Right, that's it. Thank you for members. Are these minutes then agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed, yeah. Item 4, Director of Resources. I'll pass over to Gillian Beasley, Chief Executive, to present this report.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone.
Joyce.
The report has got two main recommendations in respect to the Director of Resources. The first one is for you to consider the proposed job description for this role and make any necessary proposals for changes, and if required, delegate authority to finally approve that job description to myself in consultation with the Chairman of Employment Committee. And secondly, to approve the remuneration band for the Director of Resources and Section 151 officer. This, I think members know, is an extremely important role within the council. It's not only the Director of Resources, it's also our Section 151 officer. And as we sit here, members are fully aware of the importance of this particular role in terms of managing and the stewardship of our finances. And I'll talk about the job description in a moment to give you a flavour of the kind of the breadth and the importance of this role. Something about the history of why we're where we are now. As you know, and I think if you turn to the report on page 8, paragraph 4, we had the resignation of our corporate Director of Resources in 2017. And then in November 2018, I did a senior leadership review. And if you remember, those of you that were here at the time, I took the view, and I think this was supported by members, that whilst we were joining up roles across Cambridgeshire and Peter for other senior roles, we decided that it was absolutely vital that we had our own corporate services finance director and Section 151 officer. And as you can see from the role that I'm presenting to you today, that remains my view, that we maintain the sovereignty of our council's ability to have its own financial advice and a Section 151 officer protecting and guiding us in our resource decisions. And so the role is absolutely only for Peterborough City Council, and you will see that's reflected in the job description. Since the departure of the previous director in 2017, we have filled the role by temporary assignments, but more in the recent past by having an acting up arrangement with one of our finance colleagues, and he has carried on that role up until now in an acting capacity. But my view is now that we need to go out for a permanent position. Our financial situation is challenging, as it is with many councils across the country, and I think it's important for this council to have a permanent Director of Resources and not somebody acting up in that role. Yeah. If I could ask members to turn to page 11, I just wanted to go through the job purpose, and it's in the first paragraph of the job description. And it's to act as the council's chief financial officer, Section 151 officer, and lead the delivery of high quality financial advice and support to the council's officers and members. And in addition to lead the delivery of a wide range of services through strategic partnerships, internal teams and external company appointments. So that's the kind of chief financial officer role. This role under the second bullet point is a fully participating member of my management team, driving strategy, performance, and also that work with members in particular and other partners. So that's the other kind of that corporate management role. This role also takes on what we call the council's corporate property officer role, and that supports the delivery of our property strategy and also commissioning and the delivery of all of our property facilities management and our asset management. And finally, to ensure that the risk is managed and mitigated through the council's internal audit and risk board. So the audit process, which is also an important part of our governance, is actually embedded within this role. At one stage, this role also included other functions to do with ICT and customer services, but that went to another director, Sue Grace, who many of you will know. And I think in the world where finances are under challenge and where we have to have a day-to-day forensic grip of that, it's important that this role is kept within this remit, which is both the financial and the property side of our business. So that's the, if you like, that's the overarching kind of breadth of the role and the importance of the role to the council, but also to the wider community of Peterborough, so that our finances are being properly managed, high quality advice to not only us as officers, but to you as members. And as you know, the only person in the council that can stop expenditure and stop us spending is this post holder. They have a statutory duty. If we are not delivering a balanced budget or our finances are in jeopardy, they have the power to stop this council spending. So in that sense, that expresses, if you like, the significance of the role. I can't even do that. This is the only officer who can do this. It's a chief officer role, so it has to be, this job description and the salary range has to be approved by this committee. And once we've got the job description and the salary grade approved, we plan to go out to recruitment. We've got an advert already prepared. We've got a programme for us to go through a recruitment process to come back to employment committee for you to select the right candidate who applies for the job for this very important role. And we want to get this sorted by Christmas, because we have to have, I think, at Christmas, just before Christmas, a council meeting, because the appointment of the 151 officer is within the remit of full council. So that process will be during the course of the autumn. You will make a recommendation and then council will finally approve the 151 officer appointment. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Mandy just to talk you through the remuneration that we've identified for this role, which is the second part of the recommendations before you today. Thank you, Chairman. If I could hand over to Mandy to take us through the remuneration of the role, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Gillian. Good afternoon, members. So the job has been refreshed, as Gillian mentioned. There are parts that came out of the job as part of the restructure that Gillian did in 2018-19. And so therefore there was a necessity to refresh the job description and to take that read through evaluation. We did that through the Hay evaluation scheme, which is a national scheme, and one that we use and have used for a number of years now for our senior manager roles and chief officer roles. So in accordance with the Hay scheme, the band for the role came out at what we class as a band 3, and the remuneration for that is £110,000, 175, up to a range up to 134,659. And within that, there are 5 spinal column points we can either appoint within that, but that is the range of the band. In accordance with the previous job role, there is likely to be, to recognise the changes, is likely to be a saving to the council of around, depending on where the appointment is within that band, is likely to be around £30,000. So that's the information in respect of the pay for the role.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Right. Are there any comments from members? If you can raise your virtual hand and I will ask the Democratic Services Officer to call your name out and ask your question.
Thank you, Chairman. Have Councillor Holditch first. Sorry, Councillor Holditch, you're on mute.
Okay. Have we tested the market to see whether that's with that salary we're liable to have a good field? Because this is a vital job for the council, isn't it?
So in looking at the salary for the role, yes, I mean, we have gone out, we have looked at what's out there at the moment, but as in accordance with the Hay scheme, what the Hay scheme does is looks at the types of duties that sit within that role, and there are many other councils that use equal type pay evaluation schemes. So we will be broadly similar in respect of what the duties are for the role.
We have Councillor Jamil next, Chairman.
Thank you. Mandy, I understand this is such an important post. Now, for me, the problem is this a good time when people will be willing to move? I look at it and I think sometimes you can apply or you can put adverts out at the wrong time of the year and people don't want to run. I'm presuming that whoever we get, we're looking to have in post by April. Are people wanting to move? Is the climate, conducive to that?
Can I answer that, Chairman, if that's okay? So we're going to be assisted in recruiting to this role by the Local Government Association to do some of the technical interviews. They've got a finance expert, Alan Finch, and that's precisely the question we asked him because we had a meeting with him this week to talk through the recruitment process. His view was that Peterborough would be an attractive job for finance directors. He identified quite a number that he thought would be interested in the role because it's a good move for someone who was aspiring to a director role, and he felt that we probably would attract a field that would apply for this role at this point in time. I don't think at the moment there's ever going to be a particularly good time to do this. My sense, and I think he agreed with me, is that with the financial challenges that councils have got, we need to secure a permanent post, and now is as good a time as any to do that. And there is an interest in the market for the roles of this kind, and so it would be a good time probably to put out our advert. So he was supporting us in doing it at this particular point in time.
Thank you, Chairman. We have no more hands raised.
Right. Members, the recommendations are to consider the proposed job description for Director of Resources and S151 Officer for approval, making any necessary proposals for changes and, if required, delegating authority to finally approve the job description to the Chief Executive in consultation with the Chairman of the Employment Committee, and approve the remuneration band to the Director of Resources and S151 Officer. Members, if this is agreed, if not, please can you raise your virtual hand now?
I can't see any hands raised, Chairman.
Right. So I'm going on to finish the meeting. Thank you,
So
members. And that's what we've got to read now. Thank you, members. And I will now bring the meeting to a close. That was very quick.
Just to confirm, Chairman, that the recommendations have been agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Who's going to confirm then?
That's why we went through them.
I was going to say, if you want to propose it, I'll propose that we accept the recommendations.
Yeah, that's it then.
So I think Councillor Holditch, you're on mute.
Yeah, I said second. I'm not used to coming second, but I'll second it.
I was going to say, get used to it.
You say that every year, mate.
So we've had a proposal and a seconded, Chairman. So if you just want to get the committee just to agree.
Right. Well, do they agree to the proposal then?
Yeah, there's no indication that there isn't. So yes, they've agreed.
Okay. Well then, thank you, members, and I will now bring the meeting to a close.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ian.
Bye.
Good
Thank you
night.
very much. Bye bye, everyone.